Hey friends, welcome back to The Life of a Makeup Artist. I am so very excited because I actually was looking in my iMessages. I was having a conversation with my friend back in 2019 when I first started this podcast, and I was like, I want Erin Parsons. And here we are in 2022 recording with the Erin Parsons. Now, Erin is a world-renowned makeup artist, fellow Capricorn, and avid makeup collector. And we're going to get into all of those things. But Erin, how are you?
I'm really excited to be here and to talk with you.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for being here.
There's so much to talk about, and to actually just talk about makeup artistry with a makeup artist it's exciting for me.
I am so happy you're here. And you look amazing. We're going to have to find out all the things.
You do too. We saw each other downstairs and I freaked out because you look so good. I was filming all day, and so I was just layering makeup on, and I did a 60s hairdo, and it's just, it becomes an eclectic vintage, what do you call it? Like a mishmash of like every kind of decade, which is what I end up going through.
I love that. Well, if you don't mind, I don't know if I did your intro any justice. Would you mind introducing yourself to your new friends?
I thought it was pretty good. No, I'm Erin Parsons. I am a makeup artist. Now I'm on TikTok a lot. I'm a TikToker. I collect vintage makeup. There's so much we can talk about, but I'm actually creating a museum of these vintage pieces for people to enjoy online and in person. And there's so much going on. And I guess even though I'm a makeup artist, I'm Maybelline's global makeup artist. I work with celebrities. I guess I should say that kind of stuff.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, right? People like that.
I feel like they know that, but you know.
Maybe they know that. But I am finding another journey. So I would say I'm a makeup enthusiast and a history enthusiast, and I want to bring that to the masses. So I'm sort of moving away a little bit from makeup artistry and going to another world of makeup. We'll talk about that.
We have a lot to talk about. Okay, so I know that you're in this transitional phase right now, but I do want to take it back a little bit because you are Maybelline's global artist. Everyone knows your work with Gigi Hadid and all the amazing work that you've done with her. But how was that beginning phase? Because I think, you started on like Team Pat McGrath.
Oh, yeah.
And that kind of catapulted your career. So how was that like beginning, like before you got onto the team? Because that's not an easy feat to just be on that team. So
yeah.
Tell us about young Erin hustling in New York.
Yeah, that is a great question. The funny thing is I wasn't even that young. When I came to New York, I was 28 years old. I had worked retail for 10 years. So I started 18. I was working at the Lancome counter, and then I moved up to the MAC counter. And in those days, I think I started in 99. So in those days, it was booming. Like there were crowds around the MAC counter. So I got to work with every skin tone, every age, every personality, which is pretty big when you're working in this industry. And that 10 years of retail experience, it also helped me to be on set with you meet 100 new people every time you're on set. Yeah. And that can be a little jarring, and it still is more so to me that even
especially
to
for
this
an introvert, right?
Yeah.
Because I know you said you're like very much an introvert. And this industry, sometimes you have to talk and be like, be
on.
What are you up to?
Yeah, and sometimes I just want to do the makeup and be quiet, but I nervous talk, so then I end up over talking. It's a weird thing. Me and Gigi have joked about it before. But yeah, it really prepared me. And so I was working at MAC. I had met a makeup artist named Marla Belt. She's phenomenal.
Oh, I think I know her.
She was Pat's first for a really long time. And it was like Marla Belt, Yadim. And then I came in sort of as the third person. And then Yadim went on his own, and I kind of moved up. And then Marla went on her own, and then I moved up.
Right.
But the way that I got on Pat's team was I had met Marla at a MAC counter, and she we just became friends, and we stayed friends for 5 years. And she had then started assisting Pat. And I said, listen, I think I'm going to move to New York. I don't know what made me so brave at 28 that I was
Where were you
before?
To New York?
In Ohio.
Oh, wow.
Also in Texas before that. And so, yeah, she was from Ohio, and I think that's why we bonded. Maybe we met in Ohio. Yes, we did. And so we just stayed in touch. And then when I moved there, I said, hey, if you need anybody for shows, and she got me on to the shows pretty quickly. I think I maybe moved in like spring, and I was on the shows in September. Wow. So the first time, this is kind of a wild story, the first time I met Pat, Pat always wears all black.
Fierce.
Literally the one time ever I've ever seen her in all white was this show. Yeah, it was kind of wild. So,
I'm sorry.
imagine.
Yeah, what?
So I had never done a show, but like I was so new to this industry. I didn't even have like a suitcase. Everybody carried suitcases, and I had just this janky old, like I didn't even have Q-tips. I didn't have makeup remover properly. Like I didn't have certain things because I was so new. And here I am on.
And you know, when you're backstage, people are like watching your kit, like, what do you have?
Like, what is that janky shit? No, but I had to like borrow things. I was like very nervous. It was Y3 was the first show I did.
Ooh,
yeah, it was
that's
a fun
good
one. It was a good one. We got to do fun makeup, but I'm outside and the rehearsal had started, and the assistants would show the look, we'd follow the look, and then I was outside and during the rehearsal, and then Pat walked up and she goes, "Aren't you on my team?" And I was like, yeah. And I got really scared because first time she sees me and I'm outside doing nothing. And I was like, oh, but they're in rehearsal. She goes, okay, thanks, darling. And then walks inside or whatever. Well, anyway, that was, of course, the first meeting. And then I really would put myself out there. I would this is how I think you get on teams or you stay on teams. You sort of show that you're really willing to work hard. Yeah. And you're kind of out there, and I would be, you know, can I help do this? Can I be in the lineup? You have to find things
to do.
Yeah, and show that you're busy and show you're hungry. And she caught that right away. And I know this for a fact because years later I asked her, why did you end up bringing me on? Well, I specialize in darker skin tones, and not everybody can do that.
Right.
Not everybody can do it. And I think it was my experience at MAC all those years.
Yeah. And I think at that time too, it was like now that her team is very diverse, I've worked on quite a few of her shows. Oh yeah. So like it's like now there's a really great set of people that are, I mean, I think there always were, but you know, back then there was not a lot of people that
and Renee.
Yeah.
And Yadim.
Yeah.
Me, Renee, and Yadim did all of the deep skin. So and then me and Joan Smalls became really good friends because of that.
And of course, her as a key, she's like, I need those people to hold me down.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, because when somebody does it wrong.
And now in this age, it'll go viral on TikTok.
It will. Back then, we didn't have social media, so you can get away with it. But no, we do not. But you could see the gray faces on the runway, but you can get away with that now, which is great. Thank God. Yeah. But anyway, so that was, years later I'd asked Pat, what was it? And she was like, you could tell you were hungry, you wanted it. And that talent and you know, creativity can come later. You learn a lot. But the hunger and the willingness to work hard, you don't find that in everybody. Yeah. I don't find it in a lot of people, actually. Yeah.
Actually, I did a few shows and the energy felt very different. I did 2 shows this season because I used to assist Kabuki first.
Oh, I love him.
First for him for about 5 years.
Oh,
and I was just like, I miss backstage. So I did the Vogue show and I did Jeremy, I think Jeremy's, I can't remember, but it felt different.
I do not miss it at all.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is crazy, but I only did 2. So it was like, okay.
You're like, that was enough.
Cute, yeah.
And how did you get on working with Pat?
You know what's so crazy? And I feel like it really ties into like makeup community because that was a friend that, you know, like helped you to get on. But I actually had a meeting with her. It was like it honestly felt like a TV show because it was me and like 10 other people. And I was in the middle and everybody was there. And I had to like tell them about my story. And like, it was like an interview. And the interview was actually set up by James Vincent. Hi, James. And super grateful for that opportunity. And ever since then, it was just like, come do all the things.
Got in there? Was it just you that got in there?
They had interviews with other people. So a few other makeup artists got in. But after that, like I went to Nice for the Vogue show. Not Vogue, what am I saying? Louis
Dior
Vuitton.
or Louis Vuitton. I remember Dior there with Nice.
Yeah, so I've done quite a few. But I know, like, we'll talk about more of it. We'll talk about more later. But I definitely love doing shows and I'll still try to like do them when I can. But obviously, like, you know, like your career kind of takes a different path. Yeah. So it's just part of the story. It's not the whole thing, you know?
We're both on a different venture and almost the same thing, which is kind of wild. Yeah. Which is so cool that we got to meet because it's like-minded. Maybe because we're both Capricorns. I don't know what that's about.
Listen, I called my friend when I found out. I was like, this is like, I feel the energy. It's okay. It's okay. We're going to get into it. So you never went to makeup school, anything like that?
No.
Yeah. So you just played around in makeup. You always like loved it.
There were no makeup schools when I was younger, and I'm 44. There were no makeup schools that I know of other than sci-fi kind of things. And also I'm from a very small town. I'm like a trailer park girl, and I did not know you could be a makeup artist in this world.
Right.
Working in retail was like a glamorous life for me. But I started to find Kevin Aucoin's books. Yeah, that changed everything. And people would come in to the Lancome counter and I would try to do those looks from the book on them. And if they'd like buy everything, sometimes like I knew I was doing something right. But I learned from his books. God, aren't they? They're still amazing.
And the Andrew Gallimore ones. And
actually, I don't have his book. Oh my God. Immediately going on Amazon, I'm going to buy that.
Yeah, it's really good. And
amazing.
Land Makeup is Art. That one is really good too. Yeah.
How do I not have these? I have like 500 books.
Yeah, no, really? I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you.
Oh, yes, I would love.
So my question though, like, when you moved you worked 10 years in Ohio and then you moved on to Mac. All of that was in Ohio?
No, in Texas. I started at Mac in Texas, in Arlington, Texas, which was about 30 minutes from Dallas.
So when you moved to New York, you moved without a job. You were just like, I'm coming to do this 100%.
So I had a car accident and I got a little settlement. Maybe it was like $3,000. It was nothing. It was a very small amount of money. I don't even remember.
But at that point, you're like,
I said,
I love a little coin.
Yeah, I was in a relationship for 5 years and, I just felt like, what am I doing? I'm in Ohio. Like, I have a dream for something bigger. And I think being a dreamer is a great thing because then you're a little bit fearless. And being in my 20s, I was fearless. But yeah, I was 28 when I moved here, and it was not easy. I did not get work right away. Granted, I worked with Pat on a few shows. That shows only come twice a year, and that's not a lot of money when you're an assistant, as we know. And I starved. I literally freaking starved. I remember I'd had a roommate, and anytime she didn't finish her food, I would be like, can I have the rest of that?
Yeah.
She really helped me a lot. She was a model. And we knew each other from Ohio. But this is my ketchup soup story. I literally had zero money, not a dime to even buy ramen noodles. And I took ketchup packets from the fridge, ripped them open, squeezed them out, put a little water and made a soup. Wasn't that bad. I'm not going to lie.
Wow.
I had a lot of fructose
I used to eat the ketchup packets and my cousin was like, you could die if you do that. I was like, what? Because to me it just tastes good. Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm done. Yeah.
It was kind of good. But yeah, it was very, very hard those times. And I was living in like a basement, and I think I was really feeling the depression because there was like one tiny little window. Right. So I actually went back to retail for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I cried and I was like, this is not working out. Like I've been starving for literally over a year. And then Pat, kind of like an angel, it was sort of like took me on full time. Right. And I don't know if she knew I was starving. I think she like I said, she saw I was hungry and she liked what I was doing. Yeah. And I did good makeup, not to the level I can do now, but at that time I did pretty makeup. I was always really good at like the beauty sexy makeup for some reason.
Right.
Maybe it's my obsession with vintage.
Right.
But yeah, so after that, things just looked up from there, and then I never stopped working.
That's crazy.
Because with Pat, she works every day.
And then you go all over the world.
Oh my God.
So it must be such a transition, because now you were starving and you were like really just putting the time into your craft.
And testing.
And
Testing all the time. Oh
Tell us more about that, because I think I feel like, to me, this is what I always tell myself: if you stop testing, that's when you stop becoming a good makeup artist. And I understand we all get busy, but you still have to put yourself in situations where you're still practicing.
Well, I think that's where the editorial world comes in too. I mean, like you will work as a makeup artist, you will work for free your entire makeup artist life, which I am now not. I'm not doing anymore. I'm done with it. I'm old and I'm tired.
She said immediately no.
But I did it for so many years. I moved here 28. I'm 44 now. So yeah, I tested for years. Mm-hmm. And even when if I didn't have a day with Pat, I would do a test. Mm-hmm. I worked with every photographer. I emailed every single agent, every single artist that I could find their email, every photographer I could find. And you'd maybe get one reply out of 300. That's how bad it was, And at that time, you didn't have social media. They couldn't see your work. Right. It was just an email.
Right.
So
who's this girl?
Yeah, who's this girl? And then I found a few photographers that would test all the time. And like I said, when you're not making any money, you spend every cent you have on that bus ride or that train ride. And I lived in Kew Gardens in Queens. Right. And it would take me 15 minutes to get to the train, uphill, not joking. And then an hour on the train to get to the city. Right. And I had at least 50-pound suitcase I was carrying everywhere. Yeah. And I there were times when I was standing out in the freezing cold and I would just start crying. I was like, why have I taken on this? But it's sort of like, if you think of Marilyn Monroe, 10 years she struggled to make it, and now look, she's an icon and legend that we'll never forget. So sometimes when you're in the midst of that really horrible hard work and you're crying and your tears are freezing on your face because it's so cold, I don't want to do this anymore. I promise that hard work will pay off, but it may not be in the form of what you're thinking, but it all does pay off in the end. But man, it was tough, but I guess it was worth it, because hey, look at me now.
Yeah.
Look at me now. Won't work for free anymore. So going back to that, all those years, you're doing the testing, and then you'll keep doing editorials. And in a way, you're still testing when you're doing editorials, and even kind of shows, because if you go in for a designer and they show you an outfit, you got to test the look and show them. So you're constantly testing.
Your hands are always doing something. So I feel like your life did a complete change. It was very jarring to you, because now Gigi was like, Erin is mine, thank you. And now and everything is up from there. So how that must have been super whoa, because then she started blowing up, and then you're, how did that whole thing transition happen? And what was your feelings then? Because sometimes we have feelings of imposter syndrome, oh my God, is this really happening? And then you bag this Maybelline contract, and tell us more about that, because I feel like a lot of makeup artists are wanting to do things like that, have a contract, have more celebrity clients. And obviously I'm not going to say it's easy, but sometimes it's right place, right time,
Gosh, it's good we'll focus on the good stuff, because I've given you all the sob stories and the hard parts. But the great thing is that you meet a lot of really amazing people in this job. And I was working with Pat when I first met Gigi. I did her makeup because when you're with a key artist and there's 12 models in the day, you've got to have your assistants to help. And that's why you have great assistants. And I do too to this day. Wonderful assistants who now do Maybelline jobs.
Oh, nice.
This is not unlike a lot of key artists. I push for my assistants to take over when I don't want to do something anymore, because they deserve the money. They've put in the time. Right. Not all key artists do that, but I'll shut up. Anyway. So back to Gigi. I met Gigi on it was a calendar, that really sexy calendar. I can't think of the name of it, but also we met on Italian Vogue. We did all the shows. Basically, once I did Gigi's makeup, Pat liked the way it looked, so I did Gigi's makeup every single time. Me and Gigi became really good friends. She's one of the nicest people in this industry. Sweet and real. She's not fake. She really isn't. She's a nice person. And also sometimes what I loved in the beginning, because she has Hashimoto's. Maybe she did have it, or what would happen is she would just literally fall asleep in my chair. Right. So I loved it in a way, because she's right. And I'd have this beautiful face that I would just paint for hours.
And then you're great, I don't have to talk.
Then I wake her up and she'd be like, oh, wow. Right. Yeah, I don't have to talk. I could just focus. So we just became friends. And after that, I worked with Pat for a couple of years, and me and Gigi knew each other. But I was getting closer and closer to the end, because I had been with Pat for about 7 years, and I finally was I really want to move on. And Gigi knew I was kind of wanting to leave, because we were friends. And so she'd asked me to do her makeup for Halloween. That was one of my very first social posts ever. It got so many likes. Of course, I didn't understand the power of social media. But because me and Gigi were friends, and of course, she liked the way I do her makeup, and I liked working with her, that's very important. Right. I won't work with everybody. Right. So it was a bond that kept growing. She recommended me for a Maybelline job. I had finally left Pat and went on my own, which was very, very scary to go from a paycheck to no paycheck. Right. But I got a Maybelline e-commerce job. I did it. They loved the makeup. It was that post from that job was one of their highest posts they ever had on social media. Of course, it was Gigi. And we did really fun makeup. We still joke about it to this day, because it was really over the top. But we continued to work together, and we just became friends, and it grew from there. And then Maybelline, I got that little. Gigi doesn't get me the contract. Right. Gigi got me in. I have proved myself. Yeah. So I started doing all the e-commerce. I did everything you saw that was online. And then from there, I started doing the ads. Once I got in one ad, I was hustling. And I made sure when the president was on set, he saw that I was working. I was doing the leg makeup. I was going,
But you got that training backstage.
That's right. Because, you see, even with Pat, working with her, you're working with the 1% in the entire industry. So you learn. You learn how to be around clients, but you learn.
And even when you think they're not watching, they're watching.
They're watching. And also, if they go, we're not really sure about that lipstick, I'm not going to argue for it. I'm like, let's change it then. Boop. You've got to be agreeable. Yeah. You can't be holding on to this look unless it's maybe an editorial thing and you're just getting your credit. But yeah, you really want to listen to your team and the client. So from then I kept doing all the ads, and then finally I got the contract. And
that's amazing.
And it starts, kind of small, and then it keeps growing. Yeah. And now technically I do not have an exclusivity contract any longer. Okay. I am still I have a contract with Maybelline. I'm still their makeup artist that does everything, the ads, the commercials. But I didn't want exclusivity anymore because I wanted to work on something else for myself.
I like that. I love that.
So that's how I got here.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I know that we want to keep it positive, but I actually have a question, with the hierarchy of like being in fashion, around fashion people, backstage, it can be really toxic. Like, how did you deal with that and like having to deal with just the politics of fashion and being in the beauty industry? Because it can become a lot, you know what I mean? It's just, it's a lot.
Is it? I don't know that. I don't really know that I ever got involved in you guys. I'm such an sort of introvert.
Right.
I don't go out to parties. Even like Gigi invites me to something and I'm like, oh, it's like your birthday party. I want to go. But I get really social anxiety. I really do when I'm around a large group of people. So maybe I just really stayed out of it. The one thing I would say about the politics is like in this industry, it's kind of like your friends sometimes come first. Your friends got to have talent. I mean, Pat and Edward and Steven, Mizell, and they're all friends, but they're all talented. That's why it works. But a lot of times in this industry, yes, the friendships really count. And that may be a lot of the politics, which kind of sucks because you sort of have to do that networking thing, which I don't like and I'm not good at. And probably why I didn't even get sort of higher in this industry. And another reason I've taken a step back. However, I know firsthand that just being a friend with a major person in this industry is not all it takes.
Right.
Because I've lost big things to bigger makeup artists.
Right.
And I don't blame them because they're my friend. This is how this industry works.
Right.
It's sort of like people will step on the back of a grandma's neck to get to the next level.
Right.
But I don't know I'm curious what you're referring to.
So I just feel like sometimes, when you go backstage, or not necessarily on any particular team, but like sometimes it might feel like very intense, or people, like you said, will step on a grandma's neck to get to the next level. So it's just like some people really just like, you could feel the energy, not necessarily like, I don't feel like I've ever been involved in anything per se. But we already know how the industry is,
very thirsty.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, sometimes just being around that, you're like, okay, well,
it's exhausting.
It's exhausting. Just the industry in general,
I really don't know if I get involved enough to even, and I really just want to be at home and watch YouTube videos. So I can't even be bothered.
That. No, I love that because sometimes you think of like, somebody with your, like the career longevity that you have, you kind of think like, you have to play the game and network and do all these things. But I love hearing it because you're like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to stay home.
I think Kabuki proves that talent comes first.
Yeah.
Because Kabuki is such a quiet character and he's just so fucking talented. But also he probably lived his wild party life and he was the center of attention, but he did it without talking.
Yeah.
He did it through his art. So I love people like that. I interviewed him actually for something.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
he's so nice.
He's so nice.
I love him. He went to your studio, right?
Yes,
I think I remember that.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. I just adored him. And I really hope that what we worked on will launch soon, but we'll get into that. It's just, these things take forever.
Oh, so there is a post that you did on Instagram that I actually missed. A friend had brought it up, and I think it was like a IGTV when IGTV was a thing, and you were talking about what you've mentioned a couple times now about you kind of taking a step back, and you don't necessarily feel as inspired by doing like makeup like you would in like the beginning of your career, and you're kind of in this transitional phase. So you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Oh my God, I know what you're talking about. I ended up deleting it, and I think because it was like a 45-minute Instagram post, and it was just like, this is Instagram. People just want to like look at a 10-second video. What am I doing? But I did have a lot of feedback and talk with a lot of people. I was really just venting. I had a conversation with somebody about editorial, and I started to think like at this point in our career, even the highest of the high, like Pat working on those Italian folks, you don't make any money from it. You're lucky if they'll cover your cars or any assistant cost.
Yeah.
So here I am all these years later paying thousands of dollars for editorials. I was like, what? And also a lot of times you can't even be creative. You walk in and they're like, we want natural makeup. I'm like, why the fuck did I just fly to Paris if I'm going to do natural makeup?
Right.
No, thank you.
Right. Can you just put a little gloss on the eye?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Moisturizer. Okay, I'm just going to go back home then. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do natural makeup unless I'm getting paid for it and paid well. I don't care anymore. Now, obviously, there's a luxury. I can sort of say those things now, but I already paid my due, so I don't give a shit. This industry is not for me anymore. It's not for me. I love working on Maybelline. I love the social stuff that I've been doing. I love my friends I've met in this industry. I have no desire to meet any new people.
I love that.
I just don't. I'm old now. I don't care.
It takes so much confidence to just rest in what you want and what you believe in. You're just like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Very
it's so
Capricorn.
Nice to talk. I feel so free talking about this. Oh,
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think long enough we have been sort of, what's the word? I don't want to say abused. It might not be the right word, but in a way, like taken advantage of. And I'm tired of it. You know, you do this amazing, Vogue editorial and you put all your time in it and you're so excited and almost no one cares anymore, or maybe it's inside you. And then who looks at that teensy little credit on there?
Right.
And maybe
sometimes at this, when it was pages, you
it's like in between. You're like, you have to rip the magazine open to get it. So I was like, what the hell is the point? So I don't know. I just feel like what I want to do now, what I'm eager to, I have been working on, and I hope that everything works out, is to celebrate the artists, to celebrate the people behind the scenes. Because if I wasn't on social media the way I am now, you wouldn't really even know who I am.
Right.
And things have just changed so much, and I really embraced it. Not everybody has, but I really love that side of it. I really want to celebrate the artist with more than just a little crappy credit. And hopefully when things happen, I can do that for people.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, transparently, I feel like it's super inspiring to me to see makeup artists of your stature kind of lean into social more. Because when I first moved to New York in 2013, it was very taboo to be on social, and then I think even now there's still people that kind of just lose, I feel like people lose their respect for you a little bit. They're like, oh, you're doing, you're doing content now, cute.
Don't care.
You're not a real makeup artist. Oh, you're an influencer. And I'm like,
let me tell you something.
Okay.
The paychecks from social media, triple, quadruple, and I make a lot of money. Let's be honest, I make a lot of money as a makeup artist. Nothing is like social. And you sit there for 1 hour in your warm studio and you do your own makeup. And it's not a model on her phone. It's not somebody who's a diva. It's not on location in 20-degree weather for 12 to 18 hours. It's the easiest thing I've ever done. And I fucking love it. I love it. So if anybody looks down at me for that, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Don't care.
That's how I am.
Honey,
at this point.
I'm eating good.
Yeah. Yeah. And my thing is just let people do them. You know what I mean? Just let people do what they want with their lives. We don't have to be one thing in this life.
I 100% agree. And I also think, I think people are starting to change their minds. I think Lisa Eldridge was one that really helped me sort of see it in a different way, because she did her own spin on it.
Yep.
And she's one of the few artists that can still be considered a great makeup artist and then also a social media sort of icon in the makeup artist world.
And now Ismaya has a YouTube channel.
Oh gosh, yeah, I love watching
and her makeup is sick.
Yeah, I bought everything. I was like, I was in. I bought it
all. It all looks like collectibles. It's insane. It looks like art.
And that's another thing I love seeing. And this is another thing, like celebrating the makeup artists. I love seeing makeup artists become successful. Pat launching her line, I was there for that at the beginning. I'm so happy that that's doing so well. I promote a lot. I love it. Lisa Eldridge, of course, as I mentioned, is Gucci Westman, who I assisted in the beginning, and a little bit on shows. And I love her stuff. And every one of these artists have their own take on what it is that they do. Right. Ismaya launching things in a way of seasonal fashion shows, how they change the style every season, is fucking cool. Yeah. And I'm honestly sick of all the celebrity makeup lines because they don't have any creativity behind it. No. And do they really deserve it? No, we deserve it, the makeup artists. Yeah. Whoever did the makeup art. It's good to see someone like Priscilla Ono with Fenty and Rihanna, because Rihanna, I'm sure, understands, bring Priscilla in. Yes. She's the face for Fenty as well.
She's fire.
Phenomenal. And that makes sense when you have that kind of partnership.
But otherwise it feels very disconnected, and you can tell.
Yeah.
You could tell.
Like another lipstick. Ooh, whoop-de-doo.
Right. Like,
come on.
No, thank you.
I get the young fans will like it, but for us seasoned pros, we need more than that.
We need more. So you mentioned all the things that you love about social, but is there anything that you don't like about it? Because you're doing that mostly now, but is there anything you're just ugh, I wish this wasn't a thing? Because I feel like sometimes we can be things can be overexposed. People can do things for the sake of going viral. So is there anything that bothers you?
Well, I mean, I definitely, I don't like there's a lot of negativity sort of on there. And we kind of talked about this before, that there was that social post where they had taken Gigi's skin and sort of upped the texture in Photoshop.
Right.
And it just, these things get reposted and reposted. So now you're making it look like I can't do makeup. And it was a fake. So I totally talked about it. And I was like, this is what the actual picture looks like. Getty Images. She's got good skin. What are you going to do?
Right.
DNA. Okay. And I'm a good makeup artist. So there was like things like that, of this focus on trying to prove like people have had plastic surgery. People are not as beautiful as you think they are. People, you know, exposing people.
Right.
And in a way, because I grew up on like loving vintage films and watching Marilyn Monroe, and I like the fantasy.
Right.
So if you're going to see me on social media, it's so rare that I post myself in like bad lighting with no makeup on, looking like a hag.
Right.
No, I
Right.
am living the fantasy.
Right.
I have pounds of makeup on. I'm in perfect lighting, and the only angles you see are my best angles. Fuck it, that's my fantasy.
You're gonna get angles, babe.
And people are like, I don't like the filters. I don't like this. I don't use filters per se. I have a major light setup.
Right.
And again,
that in
a lot
itself
of makeup.
is a filter. Good lighting.
It is. It really is. But, you know, when people say things like you don't want to be filtered when you're sold to, but I don't. Filters and things like that on TikTok and whatever, it doesn't bother me at all. Like, I just find I like to live in the fantasy. It's a fake little fantasy world.
I love that.
Don't take it seriously.
So what advice would you give for makeup artists that are in this transition? Because I think that everyone needs to be on social. You just have to decide how you want to show up. If you want to post your work as a reel or whatever, but like, what advice would you give to, you know, makeup artists that are coming up, like wanting to get more on the social side, and, you know, just show up authentically but still in a way that gains traction?
Well, I think one is just not to look at it so, like, I always have an example. I posted something with my brother, who I just adore, but he's very sort of self-conscious in a way to post anything that he does about himself. And I was like, don't look at social media like that. People are literally going boop, bloop, bloop, bloop. Just post.
Yeah.
Post constantly. It doesn't always mean it's going to gain traction, but that doesn't matter. I notice that a lot of my videos that I post on TikTok, if I'm posting daily and they're not getting as many views, but I'm just posting daily, I get so many more followers. But when I post just once in a while, a viral moment, I don't get as many followers. I just get the views. I think it's good to constantly post who you are, and do it in a way that is something that is for you. Like for me, I love vintage stuff. I'll put makeup on myself. But if it's you like to just show your work, that's fine. Just show your work, but post it.
Right.
Don't be afraid to post daily. Post things in stories. You know, when you feel like talking, talk. It becomes easier the more you do it. So it's just about sort of breaking that barrier. But also, like, if you really find something that you love and you're passionate about, share it, because people feel your passion. And I love collectors of anything.
Right.
That always gets me.
Right.
So we feel your passion. So yeah, I think just constantly share and don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid and don't worry about the views.
Yeah, never think about the views.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's, you just got to like post.
One day it's up, one day it's down. It's just like you can't, because then it'll rule your emotions and then you'll be depressed.
You'd be depressed. Yeah. Even I've done it before, you know, and I just won't let myself do that anymore. But also, you'll find the fun in it. And once you find the fun in it, it doesn't feel like it's this sort of job thing. Yeah. I don't know if I really even answer that well, because I'm so particular to the way that I film videos. I know sometimes when things are going to go viral. I like it. I love going viral. But yeah, if I put malachite on my eye, I mean, I didn't quite expect the virality that would actually happen. But I am personally testing a product that they used in ancient Egypt.
Right.
I want to know what that eyeshadow looks like.
Right.
That is why I will try things on like that.
Right.
Not just because something will go viral, but now after that, I know if I do something like old, ancient, testing it just works. And but it's okay, because I love doing it, and I love social, and I just love experimenting.
Right. So are your days very like planned out and strategic, that you're like, I'm getting up every day at this time and then I'm filming this? I'm like, how is your days planned out?
Sometimes I will write down like a list of things that I want to film for the week, and I'll have done my research and I've saved them in folders. And because it takes, a lot of people do trends on TikTok. I literally sometimes take 8 hours to make a video. It can be a lot of work, and then I edit the whole thing, and I do it all on my own. But I don't really always plan. It's hard to, because with our schedules too, we might have a shoot, and then once I do a couple days of a shoot, I'm so tired I don't feel like filming for like 3 more days. So I do, though. I find I do well. I do better if I actually plan it, but I'm not. So
Right.
good. Are you good at planning? Because you're Capricorn. I don't know. Is that a thing?
I mean,
I'm a workaholic, but I'm not a planner.
Yeah, I'm a planner, but like you said, like last night I came back from LA and it was raining and it was like a storm. And it's just like, I want to do all these things, but yeah, so I try to plan as much as I can, but I have like help with the podcast. So at least I'm able to like, but it's a lot being makeup artist and doing content, because I still, and at my point in my career, I still love doing makeup. Yeah. So I try to balance it. Like, okay, I'm like, okay, I'll tell my agent, like, okay, this month I kind of have to back off on the makeup jobs because I need to spend time on my social. So
that's really good.
Yeah.
I love that you do that. Yeah, but you understand the importance.
Yeah.
There. Also, you're so gorgeous. You should have your face on social media. Was your job good in LA? It was
cool. It was Marie Claire has this thing called Power Trip where they invite powerful women across all industries. So it's like a bunch of brand founders. I didn't go to the event. I did makeup on the plane for Tower 28.
Oh yeah.
Just to kind of like, there was like a bunch of activations on the plane. Yeah. So I basically did makeup on the plane. And that was it. That was a job.
Oh, that's so cool.
It was a pretty great experience. So that was really fun.
I should say too, because you said that I don't like doing makeup anymore. I actually love doing makeup. But I just don't want to do it in the way I used to. I want to do it on a TV show. Right. I want to do it for my own makeup brand. Right. I want to do it on myself because after 44 years, after 20 years of making other people look beautiful, right? I want to feel beautiful.
You're like, I'm the talent now.
It's about me now. I don't care anymore. I want to be the talent
now. Okay.
Don't you feel so good when you get a little dolled up? Yes. You know,
I mean, I do. I've done quite a few like on camera jobs. It's fun. Like I love it. Yeah, I've done one for Maybelline too. So, anyways, we'll talk more after.
Oh yeah, we have to do stuff on Maybelline together. Yeah.
So tell me about Farfetch Beauty Collective, because I don't really know much about it.
Yeah, it's something new that they started because they launched beauty, and the great thing is because I had the social media following, and of course Izamaya is one of the on the Global Collective as well. Right. Chihuahua is on there as well. So they had some really great people, but because I'm actually working on something. I'm just waiting for the damn investor, guys. I'm working on something that is so sickening, but we need money.
Is it your makeup museum?
It's gonna be there's that. There's other things. There's a TV show.
We'll see. A TV show.
I'm trying. Everything.
We got all the tea.
I feel like it's like all being pitched at the same time. So while I've worked on all these things, now I'm just trying to get them all set in place. But I'm really trying because I want to do this. When I say I want to continue to do makeup, I want to do makeup for my TV show, or for, like I said, my own makeup line. No, but basically with Farfetch, they just reached out kind of as like a contract, sort of like how I was with Maybelline. Like you're kind of a global artist for them, but in a way I get to do it more as a social media, which is so cool because I get paid to do social posts. Like that is kind of crazy. It's hard enough to make as a makeup artist, but now to do social as well.
So do you want your own makeup line?
Yeah, I do. And I'll tell you why. Because I am so bored of everything that's out there. There's some great artists out there doing some great things, but I feel like when you have this history, this knowledge of makeup, when you go back in all the vintage times and you start to understand how certain pieces work and certain formulas, and fixing formulas that exist today that could be better. Yeah, I think after all the years I've put into other makeup lines, I never wanted it before, but now, yes, I want it.
Now you want it.
And I also want it because, as I mentioned, empowering other makeup artists. If I had my own line, I can give the people jobs. I can give my assistants a lifelong career if everything worked out. I can take care of the artists who inspire me visually. And I would love to do that. And not just the real like working makeup artists, as we call them, but also some of those social media makeup artists who do their own makeup, but they are wildly creative. Microsoft, Antoinette.
I don't know the guy
Sweet
that did
Mutuals,
all the makeup for Doja Cat in Paris.
Oh my God. Incredible.
I'm like, your brain is not a human brain because this... Like it's next level.
Like that is the kind of stuff that needs to be celebrated. Those people. And if I had a line that was super artist based, artistic, but
that's
with
what I feel we had with
ideas.
like Ilamasca and Makeup Forever in the early days.
Yeah, true. You're so right. And even Mac. Oh my God, Mac was. Mac is still fantastic, but it's different. But so yes, I would like to have my own makeup line. Any investors out there? Anybody with billions of dollars? Come on.
I know you're listening.
Well, I can't even save money because I spend it all on vintage makeup. So it's...
I mean, it'll pay off.
Oh,
you know, we know it'll pay off. And then we'll go back to this podcast and be like, remember when? So you have so much going on. You know, I love that you've taken this stance on your career. But like, what do you, like for 2023, what's like something that you haven't done? I know you want the makeup line and all the things, but is there anything like you haven't done or you're looking forward to in next year?
Well, honestly, it's the TV show. Because I've done stuff on social, and I've done one YouTube video, and I've done a bunch of videos with like Emily DiDonato or for Maybelline. But I want that TV show because Lisa Eldridge did something on the history of makeup while I was literally interviewing Kabuki. Like that came out. And it was amazing. I loved it. I loved it. And I was already working on the sizzle for the show that I wanted to do. So collective consciousness. Right. It's just, that's how it happens. But I need more of that. And I have a lot of ideas, and I want to travel the world, sort of like an Anthony Bourdain, but of makeup. Ooh. Go back to China and find out why the ancient, the red, like why the cinnabar, what was it used for? I mean, we can kind of learn that stuff now, and I can do a lot of that on TikTok, teaching those things. Yeah. But imagine having like a real team behind you where you do like a proper TV show.
That'd be amazing.
Oh, it would be so good. I hope it happens. We're trying. We're so
what does Erin like to do when she's not doing TikTok or makeup, or what do you like doing?
It's so sick I'm so sick in the head. I will watch makeup. I will go
She's like,
home.
I does this. This is my life.
I just like look at makeup. I, look at the artist. Whoops. I watch YouTube, and I love fragrance reviews. Oh my God, I'm obsessed with that. Any hairstyle, anything beauty related. I'll read about vintage beauty, study things. I went out in my youth, but I don't really go out anymore. I might go to a nice restaurant with my husband, but I'm really pretty reclusive, and I just like to learn references. Right. And I buy a lot of vintage makeup. I do a lot of that.
I love that.
That's what I love.
I love that. Well, Erin, thank you so much for being on the podcast. This was amazing.
Really? That was so fun.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you.
And okay, well, everybody should know where to find you, but where can we find you on social everywhere?
At Erin Parsons Makeup is my TikTok and my Instagram handle. And I think my YouTube handle, there was only one video on there, but it is my vintage collection. So it's definitely worth checking out. And if you want to see my portfolio, my work, I'm at Streeter's Agency. And actually, you can just look up erinparsons.com, and that will go to my agency portfolio.
I love that.
So you can see the celeb stuff that I've done.
Yay. Well, thank you so much, Erin. We'll catch you guys in the next episode.